Slashers is one of my absolute favorite type of movies to watch. They are simple enough, they are fun, there is usually a ton amount of blood and guts mixed in with absolute absurd teenage brains and even more absurd ideas of a murderer. However, I feel like the genre has been a bit stagnant over the last 10 years, especially the last 5, and I feel filmmakers rather do the trope of a female or a family moving to a house, paranormal shit happens, the movie got a twist, boom, done deal. There is thousands and thousands of these movies. Another example of movies that taken up a lot of place recently is exorcist movies. Also a genre that can be good as the ghost one, but the stories are inevitably the same all the time. Girl gets possessed, she swears and throws curses at people, scenes with uncomfortable or disturbing bone bending or limb twisting mixed in with simple but disgusting makeup, and Catholic priests. Always Catholic priests. The third genre is the found footage movie. If you thought that making a slasher was cheap, this way it's even cheaper. You literally don't have to show shit in order for making a movie to work. In general, you can be as vague as possible with it. This genre is a subgenre to all I mentioned before, because it had made both slashers, paranormal and exorcist movies. I might be wrong here, but seeing that the slasher movie has been forced a bit back for the storytelling movies, and this is not entirely a bad thing, but I miss the days of a simple gore fest. Many of the slashers have had remakes of them. The most famous ones would be Friday the 13th, which is an alright movie. They tried a little bit too hard to cram in the story there, and it fell flat, but it's alright. And A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is complete garbage. But I miss the idea of making new icons to go with. I mean, the recipe is simple enough to work around, and you don't have to make a dumb teen slasher really. Movies like I Spit on Your Grave or like Eden Lake are perfect examples of movies that, while not just slashers, have a story to them, great gore, tense moments of absurd situations of murders. Looking at the recent titles that have been coming out, like The Forest and The Boy, movies I was a little bit excited for, it seems like trying too hard to make a dark story is the new trend to follow. I really don't like that type of content, because first and foremost, bad writing, forced plots, or twists can break the back of a movie for me. In slashers, however, I don't give a shit, simply because I have no other expectations on it but being a series of murders. However, I can be more pleasantly surprised with them rather than disappointed like with the other genres, when I see some actual clever thinking, writing and decent acting. However, there is nothing wrong with the other types of movies, I rather enjoy them too, but my point is that I want a little bit more slashers than what I see right now. Which kind of brings me to tell you about the movie Charlotte's Farm. See, this movie is a bit of a gem these days. It got everything really. A fucked up backstory, a gang of young adults, a psychotic murderer, nice and fun gore and over the top violence. It even got nudity, well, mostly male nudity, so beware if you're scared of men being naked in films, which you shouldn't by the way, crybaby. But this is the simple type of entertainment I feel gets a little bit pushed back by bad written deep stories, like The Boy, The Witch, The Forest. I mean, just the names of these movies make me cringe a bit, but I sure say that I'd rather watch a goth theme getting smashed in half like in Sweatshop than a forced plot twist or bad written deep plot lines that usually have more holes in them than a Swiss cheese. With all this in mind, I wouldn't mind if Charlotte's Farm gets a couple of sequels and create a new franchise, or if like Sweatshop gets a sequel and becomes a new franchise. There is still a decent amount of good story-driven movies coming out. I personally like The Conjuring and Bone Tomahawk, but these movies are cleverly written. The Conjuring might follow the typical ghost demon thing, but it is the story that inspired all of these other movies, and for Bone Tomahawk, that movie was just a truly fresh gust of wind to me. And while I really want to see more of those as well, let's not forget about slashers. Don't watch Playing with Dolls 2 Bloodlust. It's trash. It's absolute shit.